So I've lost motivation for my DSM, and I truly believe that the car scene to some extent has died in 2023. So I made a Instagram and TikTok post not too long ago in regards to me basically saying like, hey, like I haven't really bought stuff for the car. I don't really modify it. I don't really take it anywhere anymore. I don't wash it. It literally just sits. So I think the last video I made with it was kind of the story of my DSM and how I got into it and kind of how it has evolved into what it is now. And to an extent, I feel like that's kind of like me closing the chapter with it, because it's not the same anymore. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk to you guys about and kind of get your guys' input too, because I'm not the only one that's seeing this. Based off that post, I was getting it was hundreds of comments, literally people saying the same thing. It's like, we think it's age, we think it's life circumstances, like if you have kids, like, you know, things happen. Some people obviously do it for the clout. There's a couple comments about that, and I want to get into that in a little bit as well. And I kind of want to give you guys my input and opinion as far as like what I think about it. So I'll talk about the DSM a little bit later, but let's talk about the car scene. So anyways, I feel like in the last 2 or 3 years we've experienced just globally as a human race a huge pandemic, which caused a lot of isolation, caused a lot of depression, caused a lot of issues within a lot of people. And I definitely saw its effects on the car community as a whole. Car meets weren't happening for a while. I feel like we got used to like not really hanging out with people, like everyone was doing something else. And like I pretty much worked on the cars during the whole time period, and I kind of was just doing my YouTube channel, right? So I did kind of form like this sense of isolation. Like I don't really hang out with people. Like sure, I know people, but like I don't make the effort to be like, hey, like do you want to hang out? Like, hey, do you want to go to a car meet? Like I don't do that anymore. And I'm not sure if that's just because I'm older or if that's just like an effect of the isolation period that we had. And then of course like the takeover people that, you know, like I don't think they're the main reason why the car scene is like this. They're a big determining factor for sure. I just don't believe they're self-aware enough to realize what they're doing to the community, and they just don't care. Like it's a selfish need, and I feel like they don't really care of the consequences for the rest of us, because I don't think they're real car enthusiasts. I think they want to do that for the thrill, and they want to do that. I don't know. Like I've been to a takeover once, and it just wasn't my scene. It's just a different group of people, and I think as a true car enthusiast, like you kind of don't associate with them. But then again, I don't think they're the full legitimate reason as to why the car scene is dead. For sure, like it puts more stress on us with the cops, and I think I saw like a bill saying that they're going to start crushing cars or confiscating them permanently if they catch you at a sideshow, which I think is a good thing. But then that also puts us in risk, because if they associate us with that group of people, then we're also in risk to losing our pride and joy. So there's a lot of things going on, and I feel like as a society, the way I saw takeovers emerged since 2012, I think was I kind of started seeing like the really big meets, like the big meets where it would just fill up like everything, and then people would go towards like the middle of like the shopping, the mall or whatever, wherever it was located at, and they started doing burnouts, or they started revving, and it started getting the wrong attention with the cops. And then the takeover people kind of started coming out, and then like social media, of course, like you're posting everything, like it's getting more attention. And TikTok came out, and of course, like for some reason the car scene became a trend, and you started seeing a lot of new people come in, and they weren't really car enthusiasts, right? And it kind of sucks, because I feel like as a creator, it's a good opportunity to post your progress, post your builds if it's authentic. But then again, if you are just trying to get attention, or you're trying to get some sort of following based off what you post, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And that's what I define as a clout chaser. So if you're doing this, if you're posting content, or if you're, because at the end of the day, we're all on social media, whether you like to believe it or not. It's just for some reason it's kind of intertwined into our lifestyles now. And then because of that, for some reason, like JDM cars, or you know, these 90s ship boxes, at one point, like back in 2012, you could find a 240 SX or an Eclipse GSX for like $3,000, and they were just super cheap to acquire. And nowadays you're starting to see like all these like novelty cars go up in value. I mean, you guys saw that the R34 GTR I think sold for like six figures, like multiple six figures. And the Supras are now going for over 100,000, and the NSXs. And obviously we're in a bit of a recession right now, but I do believe that when it comes to the JDM market and like these type of vehicles, there's always going to be a cult following that kind of pushes some sort of demand for the cars onto the market. So these cars are always going to hold their value, and they're going to keep going up as time progresses, and there's less and less and less of them available for the public. And to an extent, I believe that's also a good thing, because when a car becomes less accessible, kids that don't know what they're doing with the cars or don't really care for the car won't put their hands on them. So anyone that kind of takes on the challenge to build an old 25-year-old Mitsubishi Eclipse and pays, let's say, 15 grand, is actually going to try and take care of it a little bit more versus the guy that paid 1,500 for it, right? Because he's just like, oh, it's just 1,500 bucks, like I don't really care for the car, right? Versus when you pay more money, that might mean a lot more to you. You're like, all right, you know what, like I put this much money in it is because I'm dedicated to this build, I'm dedicating to restoring it, and I'm dedicating myself to take care of it properly. And if I do sell it off, I want to make sure I get my money back because I took care of it as well. So that's the direction we're going in as far as like collector cars. Haggerty, the insurance company, they recognize that a lot of these 90s cars are not collector cars, and the perceived value, if you go check out their valuation tool, it shows you how much these cars are going for. And it's something that I feel like I never got to see up until 2020 or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys a story. So back in 2012, I basically wanted to get involved into the car scene, right? It was completely new to me. It was a new hobby. Before cars, I was into video games basically throughout high school, like Call of Duty, World at War, Call of Duty Black Ops, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. That was my life back then. And as soon as I got this car is kind of when I let go of video games and kind of started focusing more into this passion. So I haven't really played video games ever since then. They just don't really call my attention, and I could see why to some people it could be the same situation when it comes to cars. Like maybe one day, or maybe in a period of your life where they really caught your attention, and it was all you wanted to do, and at this point now you kind of stepped away, and you have other life priorities or other people in your life that you kind of have to take care of, to where you don't really have the time or effort or energy anymore to really put into the car. So back in 2012, I wanted to go to every single car meet. I wanted to meet new people. I didn't really have any friends at the time. We had family friends, and one of them was a girl, and she had a Mazda Miata, and she pretty much knew I had just gotten my Eclipse. She's like, hey, do you want to come out with me and my boyfriend and a couple friends? We're gonna go to a car meet out here in I think it was Fontana back in the day. And I was like, yeah, count me in. My car was all stock, but I didn't care. I just wanted to have that experience of going to my first car meet. So I pull up to her house. I see all the cars there. It was like 6 of us rolling deep. It was like a bunch of Hondas and Miata and then my Eclipse. And we roll out to this car meet, right? And we pull up, and there's a bunch of cars. And obviously they weren't, I feel like we had different tastes back then when it comes to modifications. But I think we're really getting into like the Plasti Dip stage, like the JDM AF stickers. And it was just like we had a different style. But besides the point, we get there and we spend some time there. And eventually a chopper comes on top of the car because he got pretty big, and he starts lighting us up, and I was like, this is just like Fast and the Furious, like we have to go now. And my dumbass goes in the car, and he's ready to go, and I look around me, and like everyone's standing still, and I'm like, wait, are we supposed to kind of run from the police? Like they're coming, they're gonna give us tickets, like we need to go. And like my family friend, she's like, hey, no, like chill out. Like usually like the cops come and they tell us to leave, but it's nothing like crazy like the movies basically. So I was just like, oh wow, like I overreacted. Anyways, like right after that, I was very excited to basically start modifying my car, start making it look good. Of course, Instagram had come out, so I started seeing other DSMers, and I kind of started seeing what everyone was doing, and I was like, okay, how do I make mine stand out? How do I make mine look different? I got the EDM taillights, which were basically kind of rare back in the day. I mean, they still kind of hard because they're OEM, they're kind of hard to come by, but back then, like no one really, it was like 3 guys on basically around us that had these. And I got the carbon fiber rear lip, and I got the centerpiece, and it kind of made my car pop a little bit different, right? And I started seeing like some growth on Instagram, like the page JDM gram, even though it's not a JDM car, like would always post it, and like it would always get me like 2,000 followers per post. It was like, that was back when it was just like, I feel like I figured out how to grow on Instagram through that, right? So I started the Evo swap, I finished it, and then eventually I decided to start doing YouTube to kind of showcase the all-wheel drive conversion, because at the time I was hanging out with my buddies pretty much every weekend. We were doing car stuff, and they always wanted to work on cars. So I was like, hey, like, do you guys want to do the all-wheel drive conversion on the Evo swap, make this thing all-wheel drive, go the full 9 yards? I'm sure you guys know the story by now. Like the DSM is already pretty much done. Like there's not really much done that has to be done to it besides I feel like paint. And I did want to take it to SEMA eventually, and I was hoping for this year, but based off my life circumstances now, I really want to take the time to dedicate some time, dedicate some money, and actually take it apart completely and do things right this time. Like basically fix all my past mistakes, come back into it and build a proper DSM chassis, and just start over with it, right? Like that's my goal. But I don't know why I got myself into the other builds. Like I have the RSX right now, I have the 3000 GT VR4, which I'm trying to get back to install the combat wing, and I have the Evo that's pretty much taken apart at the paint shop. And I've gotten to the point of I feel like burnout for myself because I have too many things going on, and I've been trying to do this whole creator thing like for the past 2 years as my full-time thing, as I guess an entrepreneur, and I find it very difficult at times to be able to just keep up with the consistent content because I just simply don't have the funds to go out there and get a shop and buy all these mods. Like I'm trying my best based off what I can do right now, and I'm basically working with what I got. So yeah, like I don't see myself selling it, but I definitely see myself taking a break from it and coming back to it when I feel ready to tackle on a full proper build for it. And I think the only reason you should sell off a build that is that special to you is because you don't have any other choice and you need the money, or it's just like I feel like you just regret it, and you'll eventually get another one to replace that. But I feel like it's never going to be the same because you don't have the same experiences with the new car that you had with this one, right? So this one was my first one. I don't know, I just kind of want to make this quick video, give you guys my input, and kind of see what you guys think about the car scene. Have you guys lost interest for a certain car after a specific amount of time, and what did you do? For now, I'm just gonna let the car kind of sit, and I don't know, when I feel like getting back into it I will, and I kind of want to finish the other builds as well and kind of clear my mind a little bit because right now I feel like a little bit too burned out. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I guess I'll see you on the next one.